Die, orc. No, human.
Oh,
Mike, I was going to come by and ask if you're working hard or hardly working, but I feel like it's self-evident these days.
I was working this past week.
Hey, hi. Speaking of work, what's going on? Wanted to know a little bit about Comic-Con. Maybe you two could talk to me a little bit. What your impressions were, your takeaway?
Comic-Con, eh?
Comic-Con, eh?
Comic-Con is a place where they don't like video games very much.
Yeah.
That's
Video
interesting.
games. So
They're sharing space at Artist's Alley right now.
So
Yeah.
basically, like, video games are the nephew who came to live with the aunt and uncle, and they make him live under the stairs while they spoil his cousin and give him lots of nice stuff, and he doesn't get anything for his birthday, except that video games are never going to turn into a powerful wizard and have a happy life. They're just going to kind of be at Comic-Con and be in the ghetto all the time.
Oh, man.
As long as you can accept that, it's fine. It's not
Okay.
really, I guess,
Yeah.
a show about games.
Yeah, it was a little different this year in terms of how, like, video games' actual presence on the actual show floor at Comic-Con. Now, were they part of Comic-Con as a whole? Yes. Like, Nintendo actually rented out, like, the whole ballroom at the Marriott, which is next door to the convention center.
Okay.
And that's where they're directing, they had a small booth on the floor and basically telling people, like, go to the Marriott and go play all of our games. And
Yeah, that was
Sega-
actually the best gaming space because it was huge.
Yeah.
It was like the size of the Comic-Con show floor, except it was just Nintendo. Well, maybe not that big, but
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Okay.
But and then Sega did something similar. They had their off-site event area
Okay.
where they had a bunch of current games. But that's when Jeremy and I got hands-on with Aliens Infestation.
Okay.
It was pretty awesome.
yeah, I feel like Capcom actually had the best presence. Just the number of people, developer talent they had there, the games that they had showing, stuff that no one had seen before, and the whole community booth where there was like a soundproof booth where you could go and scream at the top of your lungs to try to win something for Asura's Wrath. And Asura's Wrath was actually playable for the first time. I didn't get to fight a giant finger from space, though.
Okay, I did that
So
at E3.
a little
yeah.
disappointing.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what'd you think?
It's okay. It's a little weird. It's what, like God Hand and like I don't know. It's a bunch of other games with a really, really cool graphic style. I don't know. I'm not. The game was a little hard to just pick up and play because like you don't get a feel or you don't get kind of a warning for how you have to manage space and evade and that sort of thing. So I actually got a game over the first time I played, and then I went back and tried it again and did a lot better because I understood how I was supposed to be playing it. But the demo was not very explanatory in that sense. So I feel like people were probably frustrated playing it.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely for me the highlight was Aliens Infestation. That
Yeah.
was freaking great.
Yeah, it's basically Metroid, but well, not. I won't even. No, I don't want to say that. It's just basically. It's. I mean,
It's Metroid.
it's
Well, it's squad-based Metroid.
yeah, squad-based Metroid.
Squad-based Metroid.
Yeah.
See, that sounds so wild. How do you control that?
Well,
Well,
it's
no, you don't. It's not like Kirby Mass Attack or something. You're not using a stylus to control a bunch of Marines. You control one Marine at a time, and then as you start out with like a squad of 4, and then as you find new Marines throughout the level, then they join your team, and you can switch between them. And they don't have any play differences, but each of them has different dialogue and different interactions with the characters and so forth. But the really interesting thing about the Marines is that there's like a total of 19 of them that I think that you can find.
Okay.
And it's possible for each of them to die. And like, it's aliens. So if they die, then they're probably dead because they probably got like a little mini mouth through their brain.
Okay.
or
else-
they're taken or they're like dragged away, and then you can find them like cocooned up somewhere else aboard the Sulaco.
Right,
Okay.
but if
Which-
they've been cocooned, then there's a chance that they have a chest burster inside of them, which means that at some point they're going to die.
Yeah.
And if you run out of Marines, that's it. It's game over.
Yeah, and-
Game over, man.
Yeah.
Game over.
Okay.
Game-
Whoa.
And then also, it depending on the group of Marines you decide to go with throughout the later parts of the game, because the Sulaco is only like the starting zone, which and then you go. They said that you go from the Sulaco down to LV 426, and so like when you leave the Sulaco, that's it. You're gone. So whatever Marines you've got, you better be happy with like your current selection. So hopefully you don't wind up with like a group of like 4 chest burst like Marines, like, and you get to the planet and you're like, well, great,
Oops.
now I'm down to 1 life.
Okay. So even though maybe video games don't get treated as well, do you feel at least that it's worth it to have all these panels and things? I mean, Uncharted had a panel, Halo had a panel.
The thing about the panels is a little weird. It's like the people are standing in line to go to these panels to learn about like some real like core behind the scenes stuff. And some of these panels really treated themselves as like, hey, we got a game coming out, so why don't you go buy it? You know, they didn't really spend a lot of time. A few panels like actually took the time to like provide the audience with like background and secrets like that. You know, the Uncharted panel was kind of cute. Like they, I mean, they showed a never before seen cutscene, and then they showed some behind the scenes work in which, you know, that cutscene's built. But that's kind of like, that's sort of, it's kind of a generic presentation in a way, because you kind of, if you're a gamer and you're aware of like how Uncharted has handled their cinematics, you kind of know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But then you look at something like Capcom, you know, again, like Capcom has just really figured out how to like deliver Comic-Con to fans of like all of their products. And you know, at the Street Fighter Cross Tekken panel, Ono showed up cross-dressed as Poison, like for the announcement. It was hilarious, and like everyone
Except it's not
was
really
loving
cross-dressing.
it.
Yeah,
Poison,
isn't it?
is
So
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it's like appropriate dressing, you know. But and they, you know, and then they had a fun little skit that like you try and pull that off at something like E3, and you know everyone's going, oh, grumble, grumble, grumble. But if you do that at like an event that's like for fans, everyone just ate that up, and they thought it was great. And both Ono and Harada like put together this like funny like skit video where they like challenged each other, you know, and it was something like, hey, let's put something original together for fans to kind of give that to them, and then also reveal things, you know, and like let's like, here's announcements. It's like, here's 4 new characters in the game. Like, you didn't know about this before,
right? But that's kind of they're kind of the exception. Again, Capcom had the best presence there. For the most part, my big complaint with the show in its entirety, but especially the panels, is just it's all very corporate. Like very little of the show feels like it's genuine, like fans interacting with fans so much, you know, like PAX does.
Yeah.
It feels more like Comic-Con is companies, you know, publishers and movie distribution studios and so forth that want to sell you something.
Sure.
And they are communicating directly to you, the consumer. It's a consumer show as opposed to like, you know, just an event, a user.
Sort of an opportunity for marketing to just get a lot of fans.
Right. I mean, it's basically cutting out the
buzz.
middleman. Like, who needs the media there? They just sell directly to consumers. The show floor is almost entirely about commerce. It's either like, here's a store where you can buy something, or here is product that is upcoming, or here is a movie that we're going to be showing off soon. You know, it's all very basically direct marketing, like the most direct marketing imaginable. And the panels are a lot the same way too. And you know, I asked around about this to people who really, you know, people that I know who really enjoy the show, and they said, well, if you know where to look, there are a lot of panels that are not corporate. And the sad thing is that those barely have any attendance. Like, I think there was a panel hosted by Jerry Robinson, who's the original creator of the Joker, really old now, but he came out and had a lot of anecdotes to share about the golden age of comics, and I think there were like 20 people there.
Oh man!
Like I didn't realize that panel would be so empty. I would have gone if I'd known, because I just figured, well, like this guy is a legend. Like who wouldn't want to go see that? Apparently most people, they would much rather go and be shown 3 minutes of footage from some upcoming comic book movie that's probably going to flop at the box office. And people will line up in the thousands for that sort of thing, but the actual comic stuff has kind of been forgotten. Like, comics and video games are like no longer the point of Comic-Con. They've been pushed to the sides, and in the middle of the show floor, you have movies, you have television, you have pretty much movies and TV, and then comics are over here, games are over here. Who really cares about those?
But it is fun to dig through the comic bins, though. I mean, there are a couple, like we came across a couple of the like the glass cases, and there was like Action Comics with like first appearance of Superman, you know, like like only $550,000, but there it is. That's it.
Saw
like
it.
if you like are a fan of like comics, still there is a lot that you can take away from the show.
If you had bought that for 10 cents in 1937,
That'd be a
that would
rich
be
man.
such a return on your
That's what I'm
investment.
going to do next.
Yeah.
I'm going to go make a time machine and figure that out.
Right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy.